My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Leos. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot. For today, I'm going to be doing a general love reading of 5 card spread. But before I do that, I want to offer these 2 beautiful roses as a token of my love and appreciation for you all for supporting me. I love you guys incredibly. So thank you so much for your love and devotion towards my channel and myself. So this 5 card love reading includes that the first card represents you, the second the other person, the third the fourth the past, fifth the future. Then I'm going to draw a Vampire Oracle for you and Ona Favole, but let's get started with card number 1, which is you. Oh my goodness. Okay, you get 10 of Swords. Forgive me about that, but 10 of Swords. Yeah, this is all about a painful ending. Okay. Yeah, the thing is I'm actually getting, it's like on a positive note and a negative note for the ones who are single and the ones who are in a relationship, whoever, and however this card resonates. But, if you're single, you could be saying goodbye to singlehood, even though it could be a painful ending. But, it's like any kind of change, any kind of like commitment and stuff like that could cause one to feel a bit maybe uncertain, like the 7 of Pentacles and the 4 of Cups and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like there could be a painful ending of some kind, but it could also just be in the ending of singlehood where you're about to embark on this new love connection, this commitment, romance, whatever it may be. But on a negative situation, it is indeed a painful ending, so it just looks like that. Yeah, I wonder if somebody may have, caused, you to be suffering with the 10 of Swords. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to keep going, but the thing is, it's like I am so beyond sorry if any of my beautiful Leos out there are suffering or had to go through some kind of like painful ending regarding any kind of commitment or relationship, because the thing is this world is already painful enough without having to have additional problems regarding the 10 of Swords. Okay, well, who's the other person? The 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, well, the thing is, like, now the other person could have been a Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, but this other person, was incredibly hesitant already. Why would somebody be hesitant? Well, I'm sure, as long as you both were open to communication, or maybe, eventually you might receive some kind of reason for this, but this person was incredibly hesitant already. Or even in current times. And the thing is maybe, it's like, any kind of hesitation where they say, well, it's like, I'm not really sure I want to keep pursuing with the king and queen of the jungle. I mean, I know how Leos love, to, love with their, big, a wonderful heart and stuff like that. So, but I can understand, how that could also cause, like any kind of pain and suffering and stuff like that. Because when somebody, will first shows, like interest and stuff like that, and later they kind of hold back and say, what, second thought. Very painful, I mean, I've witnessed hundreds of humans that have experienced something like that, where, it's like somebody once said, oh yeah, I kind of, will think you're interesting and stuff like that, and then later when you're the one that approaches them, they're not like, oh, yeah, I need to think about this for a moment and stuff like that. Well, the thing is if, this person is, he will really, has no interest or whatever it may be, please consider it their grand loss for my beloved Leos, because the thing is you deserve a king or queen, whoever, you can, that you want to find, your best partner and stuff like that, because the thing is, you don't want to be settling for somebody less, because, Leos, you are royalty, you're the king and queen, so don't ever, underestimate who you personally are, because you deserve nothing but the best. Relationship. Knight of Wands. Okay, for the ones in a relationship, it looks like this, connection is incredibly, yeah, just very, like passionate, very strong, very, fiery. You guys could be incredibly adventurous and stuff like that. Romantically adventurous, or even for, leisure time, in any kind of way, I do see a lot of, fiery passion in this whole connection, if you're currently in a beautiful connection, which I hope you are. But so, yeah, I can just see, that there's so much, like romance, so much devotion, so much passion. Wow, and so much fire, because you are fire after all. So I just think this is very, very beautiful. Now the thing is, it's like, okay, well, for the ones who could be dealing with a hesitant person, it's like this connection could still be incredibly passionate, where this, where you could, where you're probably the one that's putting in more time and effort regarding this whole connection. Maybe you want to try to revive some of the beautiful fiery moments and stuff like that, though technically this isn't a past situation. But if you're trying to keep up the spark of, the spark and stuff like that, you want to make sure you know that you're not just wasting your time on whoever this person is, because this person, if there's really hesitation involved, I would really stop whatever you're doing, and also let them go and say, I'm done with you as well. I can't be dealing with your drama, your uncertainties, your mixed messages, whatever it may be. So that's why it's like I can see how you just want to will be with with that person or something, but the other person is kind of because that's why I do see you sad but true, suffering with the Ten of Swords. The past. Four of Swords. Okay, so there was obviously, rest and relaxation. Maybe you guys did take a break of some kind, or maybe there was already a divorce or a breakup. But, there's definitely, a rest taking place in the past, okay? Well, this is also kind of a phase of actually, maybe rethinking the whole connection. It could also be, that, you both, fell in love with each other, and, maybe the other person, probably also kind of, put in time and effort and energy regarding this connection, and maybe, you both kind of just, rested up and stuff like that. I mean, we still need to know what the future holds, but maybe, it's like, there could be hesitation involved, but, since, this relationship is still incredibly fiery and passionate, well, maybe, it's like, all you have to do is just kind of in the past is, it will rest up and think about the whole connection and stuff like that before, we're really breaking it off, but I am worried about the Ten of Swords, because what does the future hold? Four of Cups, more hesitancy, okay. Yeah, the thing is, it's like, my beloved Leos, man, woman, the ones who, could be suffering in a relationship are the ones who just got out of a relationship, or maybe if you have your eyes on somebody. Okay. Yeah, I just see hesitation. I mean, the thing is I wonder if you could be hesitant about, this whole connection, that the other person got the Seven of Pentacles, meaning the product, the relationship is there, but the other person is just has, second thoughts, cold feet, whatever the reason may be, for them just kind of thinking, I need to, think this over for a bit. Well, I mean, even the Four of Swords, maybe you guys already took a break in the past, maybe you guys just, kind of, went on two different voyages and stuff like that, or quests, and then they probably, or, you probably thought, well, let's just kind of take a break for a bit, but that's, not give up on this very beautiful, fiery connection and stuff like that. But in the future, yeah, the same thing is, it's like, I am afraid that, this connection is not meant to be, because, it's like, whoever, is hesitant in this relationship, that's not gonna, it will work in any way unless, you're pretty much persuaded, or, you actually have this very strong, reason, to want to actually be together, right? It's like you don't want to be with somebody because of their looks. You don't want to be because of how, wealthy, their family is and stuff like that. Of course, well, everybody has, their own reasons, of course. But the thing is, it's like if you only, think about only basic, things rather than, somebody's humor, somebody's personality, somebody's skills, or maybe who they are and stuff like that. It's like if you want to actually go into depth, maybe that has a bit more value than only just thinking, oh yeah, it's like, I find you very attractive, well, why don't we try something out, because there's actually more to a person's looks, or their wealth, or their sense of humor, or their personality, that meets the eye. But of course, life is very short, so of course you don't want to be, feeling like, oh yeah, I need to put in, time and effort, because, there's only so much time, in one's life, right? So that's why I do also sense hesitancy, about thinking, yeah, any kind of like offerings, any kind of courtships and stuff like that. Okay. Oracle. The monster within, internal struggle, personal challenges, and wanting to improve. Okay, so what I'm actually seeing here is, maybe you're the one that could be, struggling with wanting to improve, having personal struggles, or maybe, you're dealing with challenges and stuff like that. Or maybe the other person could also be dealing with all kinds of challenges, and maybe that's why, it's like, the person isn't ready to commit yet. Maybe they're, not ready to even be with you yet. Maybe, they're still kind of overcoming their own obstacles, their own problems and stuff like that, and then at a certain point you just think, okay, it's like, I won't be waiting too long on whoever this person is. I mean, it could be very beautiful and passionate, but, the thing is, it's like any person, that's either, very hesitant, there's usually a good reason for that and stuff like that. So it's really important to kind of, to understand, that there could be personal challenges and all kinds of stuff that they could be dealing with. And maybe they just think the last thing I want to be dealing with is going on dates, courtships, and all this other romance stuff like that, because I'm just so exhausted, from my own personal problems that I just can't be dealing with any of this right now. you know? But that's the only thing. I mean, it doesn't have to resonate at all. And for the ones who are in a very beautiful relationship, it's like I do sense, hesitancy in the future regarding anything, but it's also good to kind of rest up and actually, double check to make sure that any kind of offering, any kind of, passion, is still going to be around, stuff like that, no matter what. But let's see what Favole has. Wheel of Fortune. Okay, I think maybe Gemini or even Cancer got this card. But either way, I do see fortune for my beloved Leos, man or woman. So the thing is, whoever you have your eyes on right now, maybe, I just kind of take a break from that and just kind of think, okay, I'm going to try to find somebody else and stuff like that. Because as that phrase goes, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Hopefully, it's like, but either way, it's like I do see, luck and fortune for my beloved Leos. You could even find yourself a fellow Leo in the future, maybe an Aquarius, maybe a Taurus, maybe even a Scorpio. But either way, it's like I do see you, struggling and dealing with, something right now. But that's why, I want to, rest assured for my beloved Leos in this world that you will have beautiful luck on your side. It doesn't per se have to be with a fixed sign. It could be, but either way, everything is just going to work out just fine no matter what. Okay, well, for my beautiful Leos, I'm going to have to leave it at this. But thank you so much for joining me. If this reading resonated, please feel free to join and subscribe if you want to. But thank you again so much for joining my channel and subscribing to me and your love and devotion towards my channel. I love you guys incredibly. In a few days, I'm going to go back to general readings, so I'm going to go back and forth between general and love for now. But I'm also open for personal readings, so if anybody wants to have a personal reading, all you have to do is subscribe and post in the discussion box that you want to have a personal reading and stuff like that, and I'll respond with my email, and then we'll just start the process. But anyway, thank you so much for your love and devotion. I love you guys incredibly.